Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the Hammy Show, presented by Bulldog Illustrated, and we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been quite the hiatus from college football. A long winter, a long spring, a hot summer has separated us from toe meeting leather on the gridiron. But it's also been a hiatus from the Hammy Show. As you well know, it's been a minute since you've seen my ugly mug on your phone screens as you watch me or heard my terrible voice across your speakers. But I'm back, and I'm better than ever. It's college football time in America, and I couldn't be more excited to be sitting in front of this camera to talk with you about Georgia football, college football, sports, anything and everything under the sun. So, a few updates. Please like, comment, follow at We Are Bulldogs on Instagram. Dawgs spelled D-A-W-G-S, just like any man, woman, and child should spell dogs in this peach state. And also follow the new account at _Hammy Show. Hammy spelled H-A-M-M-Y. It is the best place for you to get all the content that we release on these podcast episodes. But the biggest announcement of them all, we're coming to you twice a week now. So, subscribe to my Spotify channel at The Hammy Show and my YouTube channel at The Hammy Show as well. But also, in addition to The Hammy Show on YouTube and Spotify, we'll be releasing these 2 episodes every single week on the Bulldog Illustrated YouTube channel. So please subscribe to that as well. But let's get down to business. It's a new era of college football, an era unlike anything we've ever seen before. It's uncharted territory. It's the next level. It's conference realignment. It's NIL, and it's the oh so crazy playoff expansion. 12 teams now in the playoff come the end of the regular season. So we're going to dissect everything. But first, for this inaugural episode of the 2024 season, we welcome on a very, very special guest. Someone you well know if you're a damn good dog, because this is one damn good dog. The legend, number 5, 2-time All-American, Super Bowl champion, College Football Hall of Fame member, Pro Football Hall of Fame member, Kevin Butler. KB is a great friend of the show, great friend of Bulldog Illustrated, and just a great friend in general. He was so kind to give me 30 minutes of his time so we could talk Bears football, Georgia football, his playing days, the kick that happened 40 years ago. In 1984, Kevin Butler lined up on the 50-yard line with Larry Munson on the call. The number 2 Clemson Tigers standing across from him, and he hit a bomb. Kicked it straight through the uprights for a 60-yard field goal, and it took down the number 2 ranked Clemson Tigers in an upset comeback victory of 1984. For that reason, Kevin Butler is being honored and recognized as the honorary captain of the Georgia football team at this year's Aflac kickoff game, where Georgia, once again, takes on Clemson in a crazy good college football rivalry. So, I'm going to kick it to myself. Thank you so much to Kevin Butler. But first, I must talk about who else is in this universe of the Hammy Show and the universe of Bulldog Illustrated. One being Jeff Dantzler, my greatest mentor, somebody who I will be forever indebted to, someone who has taught me life lessons, journalism lessons, anything and everything under the sun, just like this show talks about. Jeff Dantzler writes a special piece in Bulldog Illustrated this week, the first issue of Bulldog Illustrated in this college football regular season. He details all of the elite players from this college football rivalry of Georgia and Clemson. In the biggest moments, under the biggest lights, the brightest lights, the Dogs came to the table and they showed up. Chris Smith and, of course, Kevin Butler and that 60-yard kick 40 years ago. But also, Kevin Butler will be featured in every single magazine of Bulldog Illustrated moving forward, giving you his players of the game on offense, on defense, on special teams, and of course, the oh-so-great unsung hero. So please tune in to Bulldog Illustrated. Go to bulldogillustrated.com to get your digital edition. Swipe through on your computer or cell phone. But also, in Athens, Macon, and the Golden Isles, pick up your own print copy of Bulldog Illustrated each week at your local shops and restaurants. That'll do it for me. I know you're tired of hearing me talk, so we're going to kick it to me and KB. Thank you so much for listening, and let's get it started. Welcome back to the Hammy Show presented by Bulldog Illustrated. We've got a very, very special guest with us here today. Super Bowl champion, college football Hall of Famer, of course, the damn good dog, a friend of Bulldog Illustrated as a columnist, and of course, the one and only Kevin Butler. Thank you so much for being here with me.
No, it's good to be here. I'm glad to join you this morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, let's jump right into it. Congratulations. You're an honorary captain for the Georgia Clemson opener, season opener coming up this Saturday. And what a special honor for you. You know, kind of what are you feeling? Are you a little bit nervous going into Saturday's game?
Yeah, I don't want to make a bad call and start Kirby off in the wrong mood or anything. So, no, it's a great honor. It really is. I can't believe it's 40 years ago that Clemson game took place. I'm very happy to see us playing Clemson again. I think it's good for college football. It's certainly good for our fans, and being so close to Georgia. I think it's a natural rivalry, and I think it's something that we had back in the '80s. We played them every year, so very special. The timing couldn't be better, and hopefully we come out of the game next Saturday, like we did 40 years ago. But hopefully we don't have to come down to a kick. But comes down to a kick. I hope we make it. I think Peyton's doing a great job kicking, so it's going to be exciting. I think to start that game off in Atlanta, neutral field. Both teams are going to be represented great from their fans. Both fan bases are two of the best out there. So to be out there on the field, it's certainly an honor, and it's an honor just to be involved with the Bulldogs right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, huge congratulations. That is so awesome. I'm honestly jealous. So, Kirby, is he going to hand you the honors of actually calling the toss, or are you heads or tails? Like we got the people have to know.
If I called it, it'd be heads. I always called heads when I was out there. You just play heads up, and that gives you a better chance. But I don't even know if we call it, if we're just standing out there as good-looking ex-players. So I know Clemson will have a player out there also. So it's just it's an honor. A great play, a great game 40 years ago. Teammates, we fought back at halftime. It was just one of those hard-fought games that we used to play back in the '80s, and it always came down to the end with Clemson. And I don't see it really changing a whole lot. I think both teams are going to be prepared for each other this year, and I think it'll be a tough fought game. And I think play here or there is really going to turn the tide for whatever team takes that lead.
Yes, sir. So I think the Clemson captain is AJ Terrell, the honorary captain, who's the defensive back for the Atlanta Falcons. So that's to why he's
Absolutely,
selected
yeah.
for Clemson, playing in his home stadium. Now, do you think? He's an NFL star, one of the best DBs in the game right now. Do you think you could still outkick him?
No, I can't. I can't outkick anybody. So my kicking days are over. I've had triple back fusion. I've had both hips replaced. I'm out of the kicking business as of right now. So, it's an honor just to be out there. When you're out there with another NFL player who's actually in the league right now, you'll be able to spot me out there amongst all those players as who doesn't belong in this picture, and that would be me.
Yes, sir. So I know, you're walking out to this to in front of 77,000, 78,000, however many the Benz holds, is and you're standing next to whoever. Have they told you the captains yet?
No, no, I haven't. I'm sure they probably know who the captains are. If I go out to practice, I didn't even take a look out at the calisthenics, and they don't even put the captains up front anymore. They might do that in pregame, but out at practice, they're all moving around. They all have places to be. So, I would imagine, you might see a Carson back out there. You might see, one of the defenders, somebody who's leading that team right now, whether, it's a DB or a linebacker. And then you could see, somebody like Peyton or, one of the special teamers out there just, representing. They like to have three of the captains from each of those three squads. So I always enjoyed being a captain. It meant a lot to me. The captains are people that are committed, not just to themselves but to the team. And I think they're leaders, and that's something that you take a lot of pride in. So whoever's going to be out there, it'll be an honor to be out there with them.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. So is there one person on the Georgia football roster that you would be intimidated to walk out there with? That's just maybe a massive human being, or
Well,
their
the new
personality.
yeah, the new tackle that the 6'10", 6'10" and a half, 350 pounds. You get to be out there at practice. You see how big these guys are. It's really just amazing how big they are now, and how athletic they are. So even the kickers are bigger than me now. So it's going to be fun just to be out there. I always, before every game, I walk around the field. And I can still remember back to 2015 when Alabama came in to our stadium. I remember walking around. And I came over and I was talking to Kevin on our sideline, who's in charge of all the headsets. And I looked at him. I go, "We are about to get rolled." I said, "That's the biggest team I've ever seen in my life," and that's exactly what happened. And we're that team now. And I think Kirby, when he first came in, the first thing he talked about was size. Need to get bigger, and certainly we have. That's who we target when we go out there and recruit. We get them big, and then we make them bigger and make them better. And I think that's a formula right now that's working for Georgia.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I want to take a little bit of a transition, talk about your career in the NFL. An illustrious career, to say the least. But you come into the league in that '85 Bears team. I mean, maybe the greatest NFL team ever fielded. What was it like being a rookie in that locker room? So many personalities. How did you gain that respect among those legends, those NFL legends?
Well, I think, yeah. First of all, it was, it was I was kind of in a daze when I was in there. I'm looking around. There's Walter Payton, Jim McMahon, and I'm sitting over there with Fridge Perry, and me and him are both rookies. And I think what helped me was just the work ethic that I came from Georgia at. I never would consider myself just a kicker. I played football, played soccer. I enjoyed the sport. So, I always took that approach when working out, when training. And I think all my teammates appreciated that. That was kind of new for a kicker to come in there and to try to act like a defensive back, or try to act like a tight end. And I was quarterback for the defensive backs. And I'd jump in the offensive line and to go through their practices just to give them an extra time to take another breath or something. So I think the guys really appreciated me as a teammate, and that enabled me to um, have some down games. Let's be honest. You play for 13 years. You're not going to be perfect every week, and when I didn't succeed on the field, my teammates always backed me up because they knew it wasn't because I wasn't prepared. I think that's the one thing you can do. You go out there and you prepare yourself. You let your teammates know that you're doing everything you need to do and more to be as good as you can be. Um, Failure is part of that process, and being able to deal with it and being able to keep moving forward was what defined me as a kicker. And I think Coach Dicka appreciated that, and my teammates really appreciated that, and that gave me those extra chances. Some days up in Chicago, that wind's blowing and it's so cold. You really don't have much control over that ball if it goes more than 30 yards in the air. So those were the tough days, and it was good to have teammates that supported you in that, because they had some troubles too, and that's what made that team great.
Yes, sir. That's amazing. So, I mean, that defense is arguably, like we said, the greatest defense ever fielded in
Yeah.
an NFL season. Did you ever get hit by Singletary or the Fridge, or did anybody come down on you and just lay the wood? One good time.
No, no, not my own team. Now I made a lot of tackles. I never had a kickoff return when I was playing for the Bears, and that kind of equated into a few tackles. I mean, there's not too many kickers that can say I tackled Deion Sanders, I tackled Barry Sanders, I tackled Mel Gray, Herschel Walker. These are all guys that were running kicks back, and I had made those tackles. So That endeared me not only to my teammates, but I think the fans. Gave me a chance to make the All Madden team twice, and it wasn't because of my kicking; it was because of my tackling. And as crazy as that sounded, that was kind of the personality and what really the people in Chicago liked about me a little bit more. I'd get in there and mix it up. I didn't want to, step back and protect myself if it called for me getting down in there and trying to stop somebody from making a touchdown. That's exactly what I did. Now, did some things go wrong sometimes? Yeah, I separated my shoulder, I cracked my collarbone, I broke my wrist. Those were all from getting in the way of a football game. And so to answer your question, I got hit, but not by my own team.
There you go. Yes, sir. So there's this crazy moment in your career when you make a field goal and a fan jumps from the stands about 20 feet and catches your made field goal. Did you realize it when that happened? I think it was a Monday night game, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a Monday night game, and it was on the south end zone. And back then we had nets up behind the thing, and I knew when I hit a good extra point, I'd clear the net. And it was Monday night. I kicked it, and I kind of saw something, but I went to the sideline, then kicked off. I came back, and Lynn Swan was the sideline reporter. And he came up. He goes, "Hey, Butthead, did you see what happened?" I was like, "I saw something, but I don't know what it was." He goes, "This guy jumped from the top of the aisle, and it was probably more like 40 feet to 50 feet in the air, and he snagged my ball and went down, and he landed on one of the Andy Frayne ushers, which broke his fall. He caught it and took off. Cops were high-fiving him. He wasn't going to get in trouble. I mean, everybody was kind of stunned that he did it, and it was a great catch. And the guy went on David Letterman. He went on Jay Leno. We had him on our radio show. I did a radio show the next morning after games. We had him on there, and he said he'd had enough old style beers to make him a little bit cocky, and he jumped up there and grabbed it, and it was quite a play. I think it was an SB Play of the Year, to be honest with you. The SBs had just started,
Yeah.
and he got one of the awards for it. And a couple of years back, we did an interview. It was the 25th year anniversary of Monday Night Football,
Mhm.
and that was one of the things that they highlighted, obviously. So, that team did a lot of crazy things, but the fans did it too. So that was one of the ones where the fans took control.
Yes, sir. That's Dub Bears for you.
Yeah, no Bears.
That is awesome. So I want to do a little lightning round presented by Express Employment Professionals. Let me get this ad read in there for you. If you need a job, visit expresspros.com or stop by at their Athens, Brazelton, Covington, and Lawrenceville locations to get more information on open positions. Express Employment Professionals, enhancing people's lives one job at a time. So a quick lightning round presented by Express. First question. Your favorite sports movie?
My favorite sports movie, it'd have to be probably Major League.
Yes, sir. Great pick. Great pick. Wild Thing. Favorite song? This one's a tough one.
Well, no, it'd be about every AC/DC album. There's not just one favorite one, but anything with AC/DC, that's my go-to band.
Yes, sir. Was that the hype up for
Yeah.
pre-games?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A lot of AC/DC. Got all their T-shirts. I buy my grandkids AC/DC things, so um, they're gonna have to like that if they like their grandpa.
I hear you. Favorite food?
Steak.
Love it. And maybe a quote that you live by, that you love, something that stands out to you.
Golly, I just had my quotes here a minute ago, and I pulled a lot of them from. Um, oh, gosh, what am I thinking here? I've gone blank. What's the show? Soccer show.
Oh, Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. The goldfish.
Yes,
Goldfish
sir.
have short memories. Have a short memory. Be a goldfish, and as a kicker, that always hit home when I heard it because people always thought, well, how do you handle this? Well, first of all, you don't think about it, and then you don't you don't go back and just kind of beat yourself up over it. So be a goldfish.
Yes, sir. I love it. That's good stuff. So out of the lightning round, transitioning back to some Georgia stuff. When Coach Smart came on in 2016, one of the additions he made early in his career as head coach was bringing you on as a grad assistant. And it was a pretty special role, kind of right when we were climbing back to the top and Coach Smart was catching stride. So what was that experience like, being on a staff with all of those great coaches that have since moved on, since stayed with Kirby and, learning from Coach Smart?
Yeah, it was quite an experience. I wasn't a grad assistant; I was an undergrad. So
Okay.
I went back to get my degree to finish my degree, and he gave me an opportunity to come in there and work with the kickers, and that kind of started out as okay, can you get out there on a day or two, and as you get around Coach Smart and that staff, my respect went straight to the top. They put in a lot of time and effort, and so I just kept getting involved more because it was fun. It was great to be involved. Rodrigo was there. William Ham was there. So there was some competition there, but both of them needed some guidance, and that's really where I came in. And I think Coach Smart saw the value there. Um, you know, it was just fun. As the way they started developing, we lost some tough games that first year, but we were always improving. He was creating a new culture. It was fun to be in there, to go in the coaches' meetings. I'd really never been in those at that level. And you see the dedication and the just focus that these coaches had. And it really gave me an opportunity to get out there and enjoy football in a different way than I had been enjoying it my whole life as a player. So um, it was just a blessing. Did that for 3 years, and I knew that was enough at that point. The dedication and the commitment that these coaches have, it's unbelievable. And at my point in my life, I'd rather have been in that pregame and postgame show with Danzler than being in those meetings because it can get pretty stressful out there.
That was one of my questions is, would you go back and do it again, go on full-time staff? But,
No, no, I wouldn't. I think the recruiting is what I learned from Kirby is the most important. I mean,
Mhm.
for any coach that gets on his staff, first of all and foremost, they're going to have to be a great recruiter. All of them are good coaches. They're going to coach like Coach Smart wants them to coach. So that's not an issue of a guy coming in and being a coach. How are you going to be a coach and influence this team off the field? And that's the most important part. And that's what goes on.
Yes, sir. So kind of back to when you first came on that 2016 season, like you said, some tough losses in Kirby's first year, but you came on and Ham and Blankenship, they're competing for the job, and you kind of turned the tide of the kicking game. Rodrigo obviously kind of won the battle and wasn't just a liability anymore. He was kind of a weapon, and it showed in that Kentucky game late in the season when he hit the game-winning field goal as time expired. So what kind of clicked? Was it a click for him? Was it something that you saw that needed the immediate fix? Could you pick it out, or was it one specific thing, or kind of a lot?
No, I think with Rod, it was more of a mental battle, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. I think, they all could kick. They're all good kickers. Um, to be successful at this level, you have to be mentally sharp. And it wasn't that he wasn't mentally sharp. I just don't believe he had the knowledge of how you become mentally smart and kicking. So I worked with him a lot more on his mental capacity. I think when he broke away from his father, who was his mentor for his whole career, um, you got to learn to stand on your own. And no dig towards any father out there. I'm the same way with my son Drew. There comes a time where you become a fan, not a coach. And the young men have to grow up. They have to experience things on their own. And we came to a head with Rod and his dad and Coach Smart and myself, and we just let him know that if you're going to be successful at Georgia, you got to learn to stand on your own, and he did. And that's when he started becoming the kicker that Georgia loves and Georgia needed. I can just remember right down to the Rose Bowl game at halftime. Coach Smart came up and said, "You got to get your kid ready. We're going to try a long field goal." And Rod, he said he kind of rolled his eyes when he said, "We're going to kick a field goal." And I went up to Rod and I said, "You're going to nail this." I said, "You've been nailing them in preseason, pregame. You can nail it now." And that's the kind of confidence that you need. You need to be positive. These kids, he went out there and he hit a great field goal, kind of changed our whole demeanor going in at halftime, gave us a chance to get back out there. And that's what kickers need to do. They need to pick up their team. They need to come through and make the ones you're supposed to. And then when those long ones come, you make them, and it really brings life back into the team. So couldn't have been more proud of how Rod handled the challenges. And gosh, the Lou Groves Award and all that stuff. He's certainly a great kicker in Georgia lore.
Yes, sir, for sure. So moving on to the next great kicker, you brought up Peyton Woodring a little bit. Going into a sophomore season, kind of what are you expecting from the current Georgia kicker?
I'm expecting a lot from him. I think he's just so solid right now. He's a good athlete, and I think that's the one thing that Coach Smart and the coaching staff and his players like about him. I mean, he came from a background of soccer, and he's you can tell he's not uncomfortable out there around football players. So when you embrace that with his talent, he gets tremendous hype on the ball, which you just can't put a price on that. I think that's one of the most important things a kicker can do right now. You're getting bigger guys up there trying to get their arms up, block those kicks, to consistently get that trajectory right off the ground. It's a great opportunity for him. So he's going to be a weapon for us. And watching him a little bit this preseason, he's hitting the ball really well.
Awesome. That's good to hear. I love to hear it from a kicking expert like yourself. So I want to close out. I got two more questions. Kind of what are your predictions as a whole for this 2024 campaign of the Georgia Bulldogs football team?
Wow. Well, I tell you, it's going to be tough to go undefeated. I think that's going to be the one thing that we need to understand going into the season, that, these runs of 15 to, 16 games in a row, it's just going to be an opportunity to go some new places and play some tough situations. But I think Georgia's going to be in charge of their success. And what I mean by that, I can see them going, maybe one defeat this year. Going down to Texas is going to be tough. I think we can handle that. The Ole Miss game is the one that is just kind of in a position on the schedule where it's going to be a tough win. And depending on how we are with our depth, depending on how we are with injuries, that's really going to guide a lot of these teams to the success. You want to be healthy late in the year. If we host a playoff game or if we get a bye, you got to be ready. You're going to have guys that are the second and third teamers. Probably some of them will be that first team by then just because of injuries. And those guys have got to mature and keep getting better as the season goes on. But I'm excited for this year. I think the playoff situation is awesome. There's going to be some universities out there that host a playoff game for the first time on campus. The campuses are going to be wild, electric. The students are going to be great. It's a long time coming for the playoff situation in D1. So I'm going to be excited about it. I think Georgia's going to be in great position to repeat. But I think the most important thing is depth right now, because you're looking at a schedule that's almost as long as the NFL season. And we know what injuries can do to an NFL team. Going to be the same effect in college now.
Yes, sir. And to close it out, what about this Clemson game? I know you work alongside Jeff Dantzler, so he might not let you predict, but could you give a prediction?
Yeah, I think I think Georgia. I think 34-17. I think Georgia 34-17 is a pretty good score. I think that Clemson's going to have some success. We can't take it for granted that Clemson hasn't been working as hard as Georgia's been working in the offseason. I think when you open up with a team like Georgia and we open up a team like Clemson, your focus is there. Teams know that they need to be sharp coming out of the gate. We've done pretty well with that under Kirby. Had some big games in the dome. where we've just dominated. I think you don't want to go in there thinking you're going to dominate. That's what you hope to do, but the domination is going to come with a lot of hard work and effort that game day. A lot of work goes into it, but it's going to be electric in there, and I think both teams are going to come out there playing as hard as they possibly can. So it should be a really fun game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much for doing this with me. Good luck to you as an honorary captain. I guess don't trip on your way out to the 50-yard line. But I really appreciate it. Everybody needs to tune in to your piece after the Clemson game and KB's players of the game. You got an offensive, defensive, special teams, and unsung hero. And I think Dantzler's giving you a little shout out in this upcoming issue in his article. So a lot to be seen from the legend Kevin Butler. But thank you so much for doing this with me.
I appreciate it, Ham. Love what you do. Keep it up.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.